Sometimes it feels like today's world is spinning a little too fast. Everyone is rushing somewhere, never taking their eyes off their screens. Let's slow down for a moment. Let's go back to a time when doors weren't always locked, and the best entertainment was a conversation with a neighbor on the front porch at the end of a long day. Welcome back to the 1950s. Number 1 on our list, the morning visit from the milkman. Kids today are used to milk just appearing on the cold shelves of the supermarket. But you and I remember it quite differently. The familiar clinking of glass bottles at dawn meant that a new day had begun. The milkman wasn't just a delivery driver. He was a part of our neighborhood. He knew if someone in the family was sick, or if company was coming over for the weekend and you needed an extra pint of cream and a little butter left on the porch. It was a kind of care you rarely see anymore. Number 2, party lines. Today, everyone has a phone in their pocket and we are connected every single second. But back then, making a call was an event. You had to spin that heavy rotary dial and wait for the click. And of course, we all remember the golden unspoken rule of the party line. Before you made a call, you had to carefully pick up the receiver and listen to make sure Mrs. Smith from down the street wasn't already discussing the latest neighborhood news. Number 3, S and H green stamps. Do you remember those little books? Every trip to the gas station or the grocery store ended with the cashier handing us a long strip of those stamps. We would sit around the kitchen table as a family, carefully licking them and pasting them onto the pages. And then, on long evenings, we would flip through that thick catalog, dreaming of a new toaster, a set of dishes, or a toy. It felt like real, earned magic that we all worked for together. And number 4, Sunday drives. We didn't go to a giant mall or some loud event. We went driving just to drive. Dad would get behind the wheel, Mom would slide in right next to him, and we kids would pile into that wide back seat. Windows rolled down, a warm breeze in our faces, the sounds of the radio, and absolutely no rush. It didn't matter where the road went. All that mattered was that we were spending that time together. We can't go back to that time physically, but we carefully keep these moments in our hearts and our memories. What is the one thing from your childhood that you remember with the most warmth? Share your stories in the comments below. We would love to read them. Number 5, drive-in theaters. We didn't just go to watch a movie. It was an entire evening under the stars. Mom would usually pop a huge paper grocery bag full of popcorn right on the stove at home to save a few pennies. We would pull the car up to the pole, hook that heavy, static-filled metal speaker onto the half-rolled window, and settle in. Us kids would almost always fall asleep in the back seat long before the second feature even started. It was pure magic. Number 6, playing outside until the streetlights came on. There were no planned playdates or strictly scheduled activities. On a Saturday morning, the screen door would slam shut behind us, and we were completely free. We drank water straight from the garden hose when we got thirsty, and we spent hours building forts in the woods or playing stickball in the street. The only real rule was that you had to be walking through the front door the exact second those neighborhood streetlights flickered to life. Number 7, metal roller skates with the key. Long before smooth plastic wheels, we strapped these heavy metal contraptions directly onto our everyday shoes. You had to wear them down tight with a special key, usually worn on a string around your neck. If you lost that key, your skating days were temporarily over. Every single crack in the sidewalk sent a jarring shock right up your legs, and the roaring, scraping sound those metal wheels made against the concrete could be heard a block away. And number 8, the television sign-off. Today, screens broadcast 24 hours a day, providing a never-ending stream of noise and news. But back then, the broadcasting day actually came to an end, usually around midnight. A calm announcer's voice would thank you for watching, the national anthem would play over the image of a waving flag, and then the screen would just fade into static or a test pattern. It was the world's gentle way of telling us that the day was done and it was time to rest. Number 9, the Sears Christmas Wish Book. Long before online shopping, the absolute highlight of the holiday season arrived in the mail as a massive, heavy catalog. We would spend hours, even days, lying on our stomachs on the living room rug, flipping through those glossy pages. We would carefully circle the toys we dreamed of with a pen, folding the corners of the pages so our parents knew exactly where to look. That book held all the magic and pure anticipation of Christmas right in our hands. Number 10. Full-service gas stations. Pulling into a service station meant you were actually getting service. A friendly attendant in a crisp uniform would walk right up to your window with a smile, and you didn't even have to step out of the car. While he pumped the gas, he would check the oil under the hood, make sure your tire pressure was right, and give the windshield a thorough cleaning. It was a level of pride in everyday work that made life just a little bit easier and more pleasant. Number 11. Passing physical notes in class. Kids today can silently send a text message across the room in a split second. But our communication took real skill, timing, and bravery. We would carefully write our secrets on a piece of loose-leaf paper, folding it up into a tiny, intricate little triangle. Then came the dangerous part, trying to quietly pass it from desk to desk, while the teacher had her back turned to write on the chalkboard. The fear of getting caught only made the message that much more important. And number 12, traditional Sunday dinners. Sunday wasn't just another day of the week to catch up on chores. It was a dedicated day of rest and gathering. Mom would spend the entire afternoon in the kitchen, and the whole house would smell like roast beef or a slowly roasted chicken. We would actually set the dining room table, sometimes even bringing out the good plates. There was no television allowed, no distractions, just the entire family sitting down together, sharing a hot meal and talking about the week ahead. Number 13, hand-cranked ice cream. Making a treat wasn't just pressing a button or opening a freezer door. It was a real workout for the whole family. We would take turns turning that heavy metal crank on the wooden bucket filled with ice and rock salt until our arms completely ached. But sitting together on the back porch with a cold bowl of that fresh homemade vanilla ice cream made every single turn completely worth the effort. Number 14, the family encyclopedia set. Whenever we had a question or a school report to write, we couldn't just type it into a screen. We had to walk over to the bookshelf and carefully pull out one of those heavy gold-lettered volumes. Often bought one book at a time from a traveling salesman, those heavy books were our entire window to the world. You would start reading about one topic and easily spend the next hour fascinated by something completely different. Number 15, waiting for photographs. Today, people take hundreds of pictures and see them instantly. But back then, taking a photo meant carefully loading a roll of film into the camera, making sure every single shot truly counted because you only had 12 or 24 of them. Then came the agonizing wait. You would drop the film off at the drugstore and wait days, sometimes weeks, to finally hold those glossy prints in your hands, never quite knowing if someone had blinked until that very moment. And number 16, folding paper road maps. A family road trip meant the glove compartment was absolutely stuffed with those huge, impossible-to-fold paper maps. When we were lost, Mom would become the official navigator, unfolding this massive sheet of paper across her lap, tracing the thick red and blue highway lines with her finger. We had to pay attention to actual landmarks and road signs instead of a voice from a dashboard. Getting a little lost was just considered part of the great adventure. Number 17, the manual typewriter. Before quiet keyboards that you barely have to touch, typing took real physical effort. We remember the heavy strike of the metal keys, the satisfying ding of the bell when you reached the end of the margin, and the messy struggle of changing that black and red ink ribbon. Every single mistake meant carefully using correction fluid and waiting for it to dry. It made you think deeply about every word before you finally put it on the paper. Number 18, the formal living room. Almost every house seemed to have that one room that was strictly off limits to us kids. It was reserved only for special company and adults. The good furniture sometimes had those stiff, crinkly plastic covers to protect it, and the carpet was always perfectly vacuumed. You only sat in there on Sundays or major holidays, and you certainly never, ever brought a glass of juice anywhere near that room. Number 19, adjusting the TV antenna. Changing the channel actually meant getting up off the couch to turn a physical dial with a loud, heavy click. And if the picture was fuzzy, someone had to stand right next to the television, adjusting those metal rabbit ear antennas. Sometimes we even wrapped a piece of aluminum foil around the tips until the picture was just clear enough to watch. And once it was clear, You had to stand completely still so you wouldn't ruin the reception for everyone else. And number 20, fixing things instead of throwing them away. Today, when something breaks, it usually goes straight into the trash can. But back then, things were truly built to last, and people knew how to mend them. If a good pair of socks got a hole, they were darned. If the television went out, a repairman actually came right to your house with a big leather case full of glowing glass tubes. We valued what we had, and we took quiet pride in making it last.